Have you ever felt the air in a room shift, like a sudden gust that silences everything? 1 second, dinner's underway. Laughter, stories, that cozy hum of family life. The next, a cold, sharp silence that hits harder than a shout. That quiet when a simple dinner turns into a battleground without so much as a gunshot. All it takes is one sentence, spoken in the wrong tone, to the wrong person, at the worst possible moment. Tonight it hovered like a storm. A mother-in-law, her voice edged with icy authority, cuts through the peace. Her words, "No dinner tonight, straight to bed," rip through a 7-year-old girl's innocent attempt to share a poem. Her wide eyes, confused, stunned, aren't even because of hunger. They're because her voice, her joy, were silenced without warning. And in the corner, her father, lost in his own world, silent. Then I stand, slow and measured, not trembling, but resolute. I take her hand and softly say, "We already had dinner." No fight, no tears, just a quiet reclaiming of what's ours. And suddenly, the storm starts to break. The scent of baked bread still lingered, mingling with the crisp rustle of autumn leaves outside. I remember her voice, firm, yet tender, hovering over the dinner table, fingers adjusting a delicate porcelain cup. The glow of the setting sun threw long shadows across her face, revealing flashes of vulnerability beneath that commanding exterior. In that quiet moment, her eyes betrayed a longing for connection, as if her relentless authority hid years of silent sacrifice and unspoken worry. Was it just tradition that kept her rigid, or something more buried beneath those steely eyes? That night the house felt like a battleground, though no words were spoken, just a tension thick enough to cut. She wielded her control with a calm, unyielding hand, trying to uphold values that often felt outdated. Meanwhile, my daughter Haley, bright and curious, only wanted to share her joy. A little poem, a small smile. But her voice, pure and innocent, was drowned out by the storm of old rules and colder silences. It's strange how beneath all that authority, I saw glimpses of her longing to be seen differently, to be understood. And I wondered, if we could only talk past the tradition, could she soften? Could we find a way to break the silence she's built around herself, even just a little? The scent of baked bread clung to the air as I closed the door behind us, the heavy weight of last night still lingering. Outside, the rustling of autumn leaves whispered secrets, but inside? Silence, the kind that presses in, thick and unspoken. I remember her voice, sharp, commanding, unwavering, cutting through everything like a blade. "No dinner tonight, straight to bed." Just like that. My little girl, Haley, with eyes wide and innocent, had been trying to share her poem, eager and bright. But her words were swallowed up before they even left her lips. Her face, confused, hurt, almost stunned, wasn't about hunger. It was about being unseen. Overpowered by tradition, by her cold authority, she silenced her voice with a calm yet ruthless hand. Her eyes, beneath that steely exterior, flickered with longing, for connection, understanding, warmth. That evening, the house felt like a battleground, though no one spoke, only the heavy tension hanging in the air between old rules and new dreams. Her work was to uphold those traditions, like some unyielding fortress. Meanwhile, Haley just wanted to be heard, to share her joy, not be drowned out by silences. And I couldn't just sit back. I took her tiny hand and whispered softly, "We already had dinner," feeling the weight of each quiet step outside that storm. No shouting, no tears, just a silent battle for her voice. But this isn't just one night of family drama. It's a story that runs deep, underneath the cold policies and old-school commands. It's about fighters, like Haley, bright and curious, pushed aside by what's proper, and those like me, caught between respect and standing up for what's right. Could she, or we, break free from her grip? Or do we stay silent and keep our heads down, hoping she'll change? That's the question. The choices are quiet, but they echo loudly in our hearts, and in the future we're shaping, whether we realize it or not. I reached for the teapot in Haley's room, her personal oasis now invaded by her grandmother's relentless tidying. The faint scent caught me, something stranger than just baked bread or fresh-cut flowers. A whisper of lavender, maybe? But beneath that, a deeper, almost secret aroma, like hope fading quietly into memory. The walls seemed to breathe, shifting subtly. A distant rustle outside, leaves stirring in the wind, rain scent lingering, a lullaby of what once was. I paused, feeling that fragile pulse beneath her stern exterior. Beneath the command, the judgment, I wondered, does that longing still beat somewhere beneath her icy veneer? Or has it vanished entirely? That's when I realized. This house, these walls, aren't just made of wood and nails. They're huts around unspoken fears, broken trust, quiet struggles. I looked at Haley's innocent face, eager to share her day, her joy. Instead, she's silenced, her voice submerged under tradition, under her grandmother's imposing will. The classic battle of old versus new, control versus freedom, playing out silently, violently. And what about me? I feel the push, the pull, torn between respect and defiance, between protecting her and maintaining peace. Could she, or I, break free from this web? Or do we stay silent, hoping for a change that maybe will never come? That's the question. All these choices, small, quiet, yet they echo louder than words inside our hearts, shaping the future we're constructing without even realizing. The scent of lavender bath salts drifts in, gentle but somehow deafening tonight. I sit on the cold bathroom tiles, trembling, clutching a crumpled letter, my only hope shimmering in my hand. The textured paper feels rough against my fingers, and outside, I catch the faint murmur of my family. Voices rising, crossing the door. The walls are closing in, yet I cling to that scent, a fragile reminder of my resolve beneath layers of silence and judgment. Hope feels fragile, yet real enough to hold on to. Suddenly, everything feels still, except for the leaf rustle outside, like a whisper carrying secrets. I wonder, does she, my mother-in-law, still have that spark beneath her icy veneer? Or has it faded into the cold she wears? This house isn't just wood and nails. It's a cage, built with unspoken fears, broken trust, and quiet sacrifices. I see Haley's bright, eager face, longing to share her day, but she's silenced, her voice drowned by tradition, her innocence overshadowed by her grandmother's rigidity. That age-old battle, control versus freedom, playing out in silence, chaos hidden just beneath. And me? I feel the push and pull, torn between respect and defiance, between shielding her and fighting for her voice. Could we, or she, ever break free from this web? Or are we destined to stay silent, hoping that someday, somehow, things will change? In that quiet moment, the questions echo louder than words. Choices, small yet deafening, shape our futures whether we realize it or not. In the dim glow of the living room, nerves hang heavy like a thick fog. Mother-in-law stands rigid, her eyes blazing with that icy, commanding fire. Every word she breathes feels like a clenched decree, her voice sharp, unyielding. I clutch my phone tight, hands trembling just a little, caught somewhere between defiance and dread. Haley's innocent curiosity flickers anxiously, desperate to be heard, to share her joy, but her voice is swallowed in the silence. Tom? He's there, but almost invisible, disengaged, indifferent, lost in his own world of avoidance. Then, out of nowhere, a loud knock at the door cuts through the tense silence. Who's there? Will it be a friend, a stranger, or something, or someone that changes everything? The room holds its breath as everyone freezes. I can feel the tension rise, a moment so thick it's almost tangible. And as the knock echoes again, I wonder, will this intrusion shatter the fragile peace? Or will it finally force us into a new chapter? Something's about to change. But what? That's the question this house isn't ready to answer yet. I clutch my phone so tight my knuckles go white. Then I breathe. Slow, steady. I tell Tom I'm the one worried about Haley. Because he's been out of work for 2 years. Haven't looked her in the eye at dinner. Not a single textbook paid for. Every word feels like a stone in my throat. She hesitates. Something's wrong. I push. Don't take it literally. How else am I supposed to take it? She hangs up, and just like that, it begins. A campaign built on laziness and cruelty. Tom whispers to our friends that I snapped, that I have rage issues, that I'm stopping him from seeing Haley. One guy DMs me. Is it true you're not letting Tom see Haley? Are you threatening him? I don't answer. I just save the message, take a screenshot, proof of what's really happening. This isn't just a divorce anymore. It's harassment. They hate that I'm not playing nice, so they try to scare me. But my lawyer stays calm, steady. They're hoping to push you into backing down, he says, but we're not reacting. We're acting. They got their emotions. I've got the evidence they fear. The house? They say it's not mine. That's the line. But I remind him, my name's on every bill. The roof, the plumbing, the windows, all paid from my accounts. I paid. I contributed. It's not about ownership. It's about fairness. My lawyer explains, you're fighting for fair compensation. What's rightfully yours, part of the marital estate. Any judge will see that. I breathe out. Still some tension in my chest, but it's like I've just taken a deep breath before a storm breaks. Then, a week later, Tom files for temporary custody. Wants to see Haley. His lawyer clips a quick, informal motion. More a pressure tactic than real legal action. Every step feels like walking a tightrope. But I'm standing firm. Because this isn't just about the house or the money. It's about her. About Haley's right to be heard. To feel loved. To be protected from the weight of grown-up battles she doesn't understand yet. And somewhere in the background I can feel the rain scent in the air, the rustle of leaves outside, reminding me there's still hope, even in chaos. The tension in the room was suffocating. Shadows flickered across rigid faces, each one held tight by unspoken words. The mother-in-law's eyes narrowed as she gripped a stack of papers like a weapon, her posture straight and unyielding. She wasn't giving an inch. Meanwhile, I kept my gaze steady, calm but protective, knowing that any crack could send everything spiraling. Haley, my bright, curious girl, pressed close behind her mom, heart pounding, craving normalcy, craving to just be seen. The silence stretched thin, heavy with the weight of centuries of tradition, judgment, and unspoken battles over control. Then, just as I feared words would cut deeper, a distant, sharp door slam echoed through the house, loud enough to shatter the quiet but leaving everyone frozen in place. What will that new noise reveal? Is it just a distraction, or is it the key to unlocking what's really buried beneath this cold clash? Who will step forward next? The family gathered around the dinner table, but the air was thick with tension. The mother-in-law sat rigid, her eyes sharp and commanding as she studied the scene. She clutched a stack of papers like a weapon, an unyielding fortress of tradition and judgment. Haley, bright and innocent, sat nestled beside her mother, her curiosity floating just beneath a fragile veneer of hope. She wanted to share her joy, to laugh and be heard, but her words were met with silence, stifling, heavy, the kind of silence that stretches thin, threatening to snap. Outside, the rain's faint scent mixes with the rustle of leaves, nature's quiet reminder that life keeps moving, even in chaos. Then, suddenly, the house shifts, an unseen presence, a flicker of change. The mother-in-law's lips curl into a cold smile, her gaze sharpening. She rises, voice ready for the first shot of judgment. But before she can speak, something stops her. A ripple in the air, a pause so heavy it feels almost alive. The room teeters on the edge. Who will break this silence? What is about to shatter? That warm, hazy afternoon memory flickers like an old film. Halcyon days where laughter spilled effortlessly around us. Haley's face, alight with wonder, chasing butterflies across the sun-dappled grass. I remember kneeling beside her, feeling the earth's soft crunch beneath my knees, her tiny hand clutching mine tighter than words could say. The scent of fresh-cut grass mingling with lavender growing nearby, those little moments of innocence, pure and unfiltered. They anchor me more than anything. Because amid the chaos at home, behind the cold walls and commanding gaze of her grandmother, there's still hope. Hope that love can prevail, that childhood's simple joys aren't entirely lost. Sometimes I wonder, how do we hold on to that? How do we protect it from the storms that threaten to tear it apart? And that question lingers, because the house is tense again, more silenced than spoken. The commanding voice of her grandmother, unwavering, keeps trying to impose her will, to squash the sparks of curiosity and joy Haley tries to share. I sit at the edge of it all, calm but listening, knowing that patience is a quiet act of resistance. It's not easy. No, it's not. But then comes a moment I never saw coming, the sudden sharp slam of a door slicing through the tension like a knife. Everyone freezes. The air thickens. What's that noise? Is it just a distraction? Or is it the crack that reveals what's really buried underneath? In the aftermath, memories flood me. The serene mornings after we moved into our little apartment, painting walls, hanging decals, making that place ours. Haley's laughter echoing in the kitchen, cinnamon scent mixing in the air, a symbol of life, of normalcy regained. That's what I cling to, because no matter the battles, our small world, ours, remains intact. A sanctuary where love and hope still breathe, against all odds. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough to carry us through. The truth is, sometimes the fight is the only way we keep walking. But the real victory, the quiet, unseen victory, is in the moments of peace we carve out amid the storm. When Haley looks at me with those big, curious eyes and says, "Mom, now cinnamon smells like home," I know we're still fighting for what's real. And that makes all the difference. The room feels like it's holding its breath. Silence hangs heavy, thick as fog. The commanding voice of her mother-in-law cracks, her veneer of cold authority wavering just enough to reveal a flicker of vulnerability. Haley's wide eyes fill with confusion, her tiny fists clenched, eager to share her joy but met with silence. I sit calmly, feeling the storm inside me settle into a quiet resilience. How do we hold on to hope when the walls press in? When tradition wraps itself so tight it stifles? A leaf rustles outside, faint as a whispered plea for peace. Then something shifts. The moment stretches, silent, fragile. The tension folds into itself, dissolving, like rain easing after a storm. And in that breath, I see it. The quiet victory. Not some loud, vengeful triumph, but a resilient softening. A space where love flickers against the chaos. Because sometimes the fiercest fight is in staying calm, in holding on to what's real, despite the chaos. And right then, Haley rests her head on my shoulder, whispering, "Mom, cinnamon smells like home." That's the real victory, finding a moment of peace in the eye of the storm,